Some of the images are my own, some of them are original, some of them are found, and some of them are archival. And they're being brought together through collage. So there are references in there to archival group portraiture and to images of underground caves and to ruined or destroyed architecture. And then it's kind of pulling these together, letting the images collide so that you no longer know what's on the surface and what's lying behind to create these kind of amalgam environments. It is really about finding a kind of meeting point between the medium of tapestry and the specific image, and it's never the same process. These are using wool, cotton, silk and lurex. So there's just a lot of testing, a lot of samples to try and find, what's a good marriage. That engagement with the space that comes through scale is also something that I'm really interested in. And that feeling of how they fold and warp under their own weight is something that, again, you achieve through scale. So these are kind of living things. The dimensions aren't set. They shrink and expand depending on the humidity and the temperature. And they're also shot through with gold lurex, which you don't see so clearly within the gallery lights, but in daylight, they shimmer and they change. I think when we look at faces, we engage with a very particular kind of narrative. And we're so conditioned to see a kind of storytelling which is about the individual. And the kind of version of a narrative where everyone is kind of the hero of their own story. And I suppose that's just cultural and psychological, and we cannot be immune from that. But when we remove the identifiable face and it's no longer the personal story, I think we see a different kind of narrative. And that's, I guess, just almost like a zoom out. We start to see a pattern, or we start to see the familiarity of the kind of tropes and poses and constructs that lie behind those individual stories and how they're told. And I guess I'm interested in that. So in a strange way, by disappearing the faces, I'm almost looking at that wider project of how this kind of fear of time has led so much of our efforts as a species to kind of fight against our own disappearance. In a way, the works that are here are very much playing with the same set of ideas, but they're just happening in a completely different kind of material and visual register. But they will kind of, almost like they're different ways of approaching the same puzzle. So I do think of that kind of interconnectedness of the work, even though the materials are very different, they all face the same question.